Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the Coffee with the Counselors. I'm Katie Palopoli. I'm the College Counseling Coordinator here at LaSalle, and I'm joined by my colleagues. Jared Brett, Director of College Counseling. You there, Jared? Okay.
I'm here.
All right,
Morning.
awesome. Now we can hear you. Thank you. He will be the counselor for students with last names that begin with the letter F through LA. We also have our Associate Directors of College Counseling with us, Mara Deal. Can we hear you, Mara?
Good morning.
Ah, there she is. She will have students with last names beginning with A through E. Lauren Tate.
Good morning.
Awesome. We can hear you too, Lauren. She will be the counselor for students with last names beginning LE through P. And finally, we have Jim Sawyer with us. He will counsel students with the last names Q through Z. Can we hear you, Jim?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Perfect. All right,
Wonderful.
everybody's set. Today's webinar should be relatively quick and informative. We'll do a brief overview of what your junior has already done and what he will do in his college counseling seminar class this semester, as well as suggest some goals for your son to complete over the summer. We will remind you of some of the resources at your family's disposal, and then we'll dive right in to discuss two tools we use a lot in college counseling here at LaSalle, SCORE and College Kickstart. As you were coming into the webinar, you should have noticed 3 QR codes for our social media channels. They are here again in case you were late. We post almost daily on these feeds, anything from articles we find helpful, webinars on a variety of topics, to celebrating our seniors as we move into the graduation festivities. Sorry, that's moving a little faster than I wanted to. And then finally, before I turn it over to Mr. Sawyer, I want to remind everyone that there's a parent perspective and criteria form we ask all parents to fill out. We have about half of the class that's filled it out so far. This form is a chance to share insights about your son. It allows counselors to write a more personal letter and helps them advise students based on, well, your perspective and criteria. That link is in the chat, and it will be in our monthly update arriving in your inbox on Thursday. All right, Jim, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Palopoli. Yes, so I'm going to discuss what the young men have been doing in class up to this point in our college counseling seminar class. As you'll see in front of you right now, a couple of the things are in green and a couple are in white. The items that are in green are things that we have already done in class and are currently still working on. And at the bottom, the ones in white are the ones that we still have yet to do as the semester continues. But to give you kind of an overview of them, some of the things that the young men have been doing, learning about what colleges look for in applicants. That can be anything from GPAs to SATs to classes that they have taken or will be possibly taking in senior year, activities that they're involved with, things they do outside of school, such as jobs that they might have, internships this summer. These are the kinds of things that colleges are looking for, and we discuss a lot of that in class. We also use resources to search for colleges. One of the best resources your young men can use is SCORE, which we're going to go over a little bit today and show you how they have been searching for schools and they can add them to their SCORE list. But we also use other resources such as Big Futures, College Board's Big Futures, also Princeton Review. They're all similar to a point regarding the searches, but they have subtle nuances. Like Princeton Review will have info about, best colleges for financial aid, best colleges for dining, things like that. Just, some interesting kind of things that they could run and see what colleges they might like. Then we're going to use, we've been using Kickstart to check the balance. Your sons will be learning this during the cycle. Mr. Brett's going to go into a little bit more detail about College Kickstart, but basically it's to help balance the list of schools that your sons are looking for, balancing from reach to target to likely, and Mr. Brett will go into that a little bit more. Then they've been completing, sorry, Ms. Plobly, one back. Thank you. Thank you. They've been completing different assessments, thinking about the future careers that they might have, the majors they might want. A lot of the young men we've been meeting with may have an idea of something they want to do, the business field, engineering, but they may also be thinking of something else. And these assessments can help narrow down where they might be best placed when it comes to majors in college. They have been building a list in SCORE of schools that they're considering. That list is dynamic. It can change. They may have ideas of schools they want now, but as they continue to search, continue to get to know schools better, that list will change. Maybe some will come off, some will come on. By the end of the spring semester, they should have an initial list of schools that they're going to take into the summer, go and visit, do some more research on. And by the time we get back into the fall, they'll have, a pretty set list of schools with some time to still do some adjusting with it as well. And then assignments that are going to help them self-assess. We do hand out assignments in this college seminar course that can help the young men discover who they are, introspectively look at themselves. What are they able to do? What more might they want out of a college? Things of that nature that they can help think about themselves. And then we have yet to do, but we're going to do as the semester continues, they're going to create a common app and SRAR account. The Common App is the main way that they're going to apply to colleges in the fall, and the SRAR is the self-reported academic record that many of them are going to have to fill out when submitting grades and classes to colleges in the fall. We're going to help create those accounts for them before the end of the semester. They're also going to request a teacher letter of recommendation. Typically, we do ask the young men to think about a teacher in junior year, kind of think about what it is you might want to study in college. If it's, maybe in the STEM field, think about your math, science teacher, liberal arts field, English, history is great. Business, math is a great place to start. I also encourage the young men to consider their foreign language teacher for a business recommendation, but we'll talk about that as the semester continues. And we're going to begin to brainstorm essay ideas. We take an entire class period and begin to brainstorm essay ideas, the dreaded essay that a lot of the young men, sometimes don't want to get into, but we're going to help get that started. And Mrs. Tate is going to talk a little bit more about that as the semester as we continue the presentation. So with that being said, I'll hand it over to you, Ms. Tate. You can take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Good morning. So looking ahead, what should your son be doing this summer? Well, first, visit colleges. Summer is an excellent time to take a road trip and see various schools and compare them. College Essay Guide Boot Camp. The essay or essays are the most time-consuming part of the college application, or at least they should be. We partner with the College Essay Guide to help. We'll offer a few boot camps this summer, and we'll provide more information on the dates and times as it gets closer. Social media. We update our social media platforms throughout the summer with lots of important information and interesting reads. So we want the students to follow us to stay informed. SCORE and College Kickstart. Mrs. Deal and Mr. Brett will be going more in depth about these platforms in a couple of minutes. But in short, students should continue searching for colleges and refining their lists over the summer. Researching majors. Although it's not an expectation that the students know what they want to major in, they should spend time researching for majors and career fields that may be a good fit for them. They should take into consideration their interests, their strengths, their values, skills, their passions. There are a lot of free resources online for them to take advantage of. Standardized testing. Most of our students apply to colleges either via early action or early decision. So it's important to be mindful of those deadlines and when those standardized tests are offered. Additionally, many of our students participate in extracurricular activities with weekend commitments, which necessitates making a plan well in advance for scheduling the SAT or ACT. Student Aid Estimator Net Price Calculator. Both of these tools are valuable in determining the cost of college specific to your family. With the Student Aid Estimator, students can find out how much federal aid they may be eligible for. The Net Price Calculator is available on every college's website and can be used to estimate the cost of college after aid. Work, intern, volunteer, explore. Colleges want to know how students use their time outside of the classroom, so use it wisely. Not only are these experiences helpful for college applications, but personally, they're beneficial and fulfilling. Working on applications, the Common App goes live on August 1st. The students can continue filling out the application, but we do not recommend that they complete and submit it. We will be hosting an optional application boot camp for our seniors in August, right before the start of school. And that's going to help give them a big head start prior to starting their senior year. More information on this will be forthcoming. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our website. Everything you need to know to navigate the college admissions process can be found on our website. When you go to lschs.org/college, you'll scroll down and you'll see these 8 graphics. I'll quickly highlight what you can find within each one. First, the planning timeline. It's our general roadmap to help guide the student from freshman through senior year. There's more information in the junior and senior years, so we break the timeline out monthly. 2, college resources. This graphic houses resources and links for college search and planning tools. You can do virtual campus tours, career and major searches, access the Common App, College Kickstart, SCORE, and get information on the NCAA Eligibility Center. Application process. This is a step-by-step guide for applying to college in the fall of senior year. Some important deadline dates are posted here so seniors know what's expected of them and when. Standardized tests. This gives information about the SAT as well as the ACT, differences between the tests, upcoming test dates, free test prep, and an updated list of test optional schools. Financial aid and scholarships. This houses resources on financial aid such as Guide to Financial Aid and Loans, FAFSA, CSS Profile, Net Price Calculator. We also offer links to various free scholarship search tools like Going Merry, MyScholarly, and CapEx, just to name a few. Additionally, though, our office maintains an archive of scholarships that students can access in our college counseling seminar class page in Schoology. Outcomes, you'll find our infographic that details statistical information about our most recent graduating class, the class of 24, where they're from, how many schools they've applied to nationally and globally, how many acceptances received, and how many schools in how many states that they're enrolling. Also, it shows how much money the class as a whole has earned in scholarships and grants. School profile, information is part of what we send to colleges when a student applies. It's a snapshot of our school. So colleges are familiar with our academic profile, grading scale, and overall rigor. And last, college rep info. This is just for college admissions counselors. They use this when they schedule their visits to our campus in the fall. If you scroll past these 8 graphics, you will then come to our college counseling calendar with upcoming dates, as well as our archived social media posts and monthly college counseling updates. So hopefully that was a helpful review of what we have on our website. And I'll pass it over to Mr. Brett, who will be speaking about SCORE.
Actually, it's going to be Mrs. Deal about SCORE, and I'll be doing College Kickstart.
All right, everybody, hopefully I have successfully shared my screen. Can we see?
You have.
Yay! It's been a minute since we've done a webinar. So good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Maura Deal, and I handle your son's last names A through E in this class. I'm going to show you SCORE. So everybody has already been invited, everybody meaning parents, to access your SCORE account. Mrs. Ploppley sent out emails again this morning for you to access it. So some parents have been using it so far, others haven't. Just want to give you kind of a brief overview of what SCORE is and how it could be a helpful tool for you. So it is something that you can use, and certainly your students should be using, and we use it as well. We use it in our conversations with our students. We use it to gather information that help us make suggestions and write our counselor letters of recommendation. And then most importantly, it is used to send your son's documentation to the colleges. So everything other than the application that he completes, everything else is coming from SCORE. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview here, but nice little greeting from SCORE. Good morning to Pat, the parent. This is going to be the landing page, your home page. If you come across the top right here, there's the home button. That's where we are right now. Discover is basically the search option. So I'm going to come back to that. Basically, there's all different angles and ways that you can get back to this search feature. This inbox here, we rarely use, we actually never email via SCORE to parents. Any emails would be coming directly from our office. Over here, this next thing, it says PACS, which is lovely, a little peaceful reminder, but that stands for P for Pat the parent. Pat the parent has two different students, Xavier Explorer, who graduated 2 years ago and is still in our system, and Arthur Explorer, who is a member of the class of 2026. Here is where, if we ask you to do a survey, it might be there. We have not used that function yet. And then to compare colleges, again, this is something that I will come back to, but just so you can see everything that's available there. This calculator up here on the top right now it says INP. What this does is this gives you the option of how you want to view what you are seeing as far as the cost of a college. So you can choose to the sticker price, which is, this is just the published price. It's not taking into account any aid or any other information. You can choose the average net price, which is what is the average that people pay to attend that college. And then you can also choose your income band and choose to view it based upon, where your household income is. So if I keep it as income band, I'm going to keep it as income band for now, just to show you a couple of different things. I'm going to go back to the home page, back to our landing page now. If I scroll down here, here's my two sons. Xavier, again, class of 2024. Arthur, who is class of 2026. These matches have come up based upon information that Arthur has put in as far as when he was searching. And then down here on the bottom right, the little light bulb thing, that's going to be any messages from SCORE. Sometimes if they have improvements, it will be there. But then a very helpful help center is there as well. So I'm going to actually get out of that, but just so if you're ever stuck, their help center is very helpful. All right, I'm going to click on Arthur here. He is our student of the moment. This first page that you see about Arthur, this is basically what Arthur sees as well, although this would have some more information. For our sample guide, we didn't complete a lot of information, but you will be able to see his weighted GPA and unweighted GPA. As of right now, this is as of first semester junior year. If we have test scores in there for him, they are going to show right here. If I click show details, it's going to give me a little bit more information about the breakdown of those scores. Personal bio, some guys choose to put something in there, other guys don't, which is fine at this point. Activities and achievements. Now, theoretically, every one of your sons has completed this section. Realistically, they have not. So if you notice that this is not completed for your son, please give a nice little reminder to him to complete this. He's going to have to show on his Common App what he's been up to basically the past 4 years. As Mrs. Tate was just talking, colleges want to know what were you doing in the summer? What types of things are you involved in? Here is where we can kind of compile all of that information. So that's activities and achievements. College preferences, This is your sons, if they have done any type of searching, this is the college preferences section will be visible. Same with careers. And then the other things I just want to point out is in this drive section, there is a sample transcript, a PDF of his transcript. So, sometimes we'll get questions that a coach needs, a transcript, whatever. You have access to it. Your son certainly has access to it. And all of them also should have done this Principals U assessment, which is something like almost like a personality type thing, which will help determine maybe what majors he can go into. If I go over here on the left, this personal view, academic view, personal bio, activities and achievements, that's all the stuff that was above on this page, college preferences, careers, drive. Then we get to colleges and applications. If I click on my colleges, this brings me to Arthur Explorer's current list in SCORE. So right now, every student should have at least some schools that they're following. It could be schools that they definitely know that they're interested in, or schools that they just want to learn more about. What we're concerned with right now is this following column, the suggested column. Here's where you can actively add some colleges to your son's list for him to consider, and the college counselor can also suggest some colleges. The way we suggest is up over here. So this would be either for you or for the college counselor. You can hit suggest. You can put in a school that just type in any school, go Crusaders, or you can do a search. So I hit suggest again up there and then do search for colleges. This brings me to that discover page. Here's where you can do, filtering based upon majors. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but, based upon size, campus setting, location. You can do location based upon region. Say I'm interested in the Northeast, but maybe just not Maine. You can take Maine off, so it'll show all schools except for Maine. You can see down here the number of colleges is going to change based upon how I, what the different filters that I choose. All right, and then that's going to give you some, if I just do show 11 colleges. When I click on a school, then I can find out more about it. And then I'm just going to show that I can do an overview, which is some basic information. Admit rates, in-state, out-of-state tuition, if that's different. What are some other schools that students that apply here? What are other schools that they consider? Up here under academics, this is going to be what are the popular majors? So I had put in engineering as one of the as my major when I was searching. That's why it's brought that one up. Admissions, again, admission rate, what the average SAT is or average ACT. Some practical details such as deadlines, what's required, what isn't, application fee, etc. And then if I click on View Admission Intelligence, this is going to give me, so SCORE now uses AI to help with these predictive chances for students. So it's saying overall Arthur's chance is 34%, but you can see if he does early decision, that jumps up to 76%. But early decision is a big family decision. That's the one, if your son gets in, he is basically signing a contract saying that if he is admitted early decision, that is where he is going. He is withdrawing all of his other applications. So there's no waiting to see, if he gets into another school. But it gives you an idea there. And then the scattergram. So the scattergram, your son is always going to show up as the purple star. So this is kind of give an idea. You can see how they got to that 34% for him. I can play around with application type, change it to what if I went early decision. Not enough kids have gone early decision to that school to give us meaningful data right now. Sorry. And then if I'm going to X out of here, but I am kind of interested in RPI. So if I click add to compare right up there, you'll see hopefully that this little tab showed up on the right with RPI right there. I want to compare that to some other schools. I'm going to go back to Arthur's list. And I'm going to say, I'm going to look at University of Miami. Overall chances a little bit worse. If I look at Ithaca, overall chances are better, right? So you really want to use the scattergrams. It's data, right? It's really kind of like the cold hard truth of things. You know, like we tell guys, even if a school is a reach, we will never say not to apply to a school, but understand that reach applications require a lot more work. Most of the time when I'm talking to guys, I'm like, I have no doubt you could do the work at that school. It's just a matter of actually getting in based upon the school's admission rates. So I'm going to get back to the, actually I can get back to Miami, sorry. I'm going to view Miami's profile. I'm going to add Miami to compare. Go over here, and I'm going to manage my comparison. Now I can look at RPI versus Miami, and I can just do like a high-level comparison. But let's say there's a school that I know I want him to look at. If I put in Fairfield, Fairfield will automatically come up. You can have 4 different colleges that you are searching for. Let's do Catholic. All right, so Catholic's not a great one. So I'm going to edit my comparison. I'm going to remove Catholic just to show you that it's a very dynamic comparison. So you can see that, you know, all the different admissions data on there. If I go back to home, brings me back to the dashboard. Discover, again, if I want to go directly into searching. I just want to point out here that because I changed, I used the income-based price, the INP, it crossed out the sticker price and it changed it to the income-based price. Now, this is a guideline. It certainly is not written in concrete about what the price is. But if you wanted to, after you're doing a search, suggest a school, you can do so. Hit suggest. I'm going to suggest it to Arthur, and it's going to show up on Arthur's sheet. So I'll just go back here. And then just so you guys know that when we are, you know, again, right now, this is the suggested and the following. Your son can he can say, Mrs. Deal, you know, I know you love Holy Cross, but not for me. He could move it over to not interested. It's something that only he can do. We can't do it. Or he can say, yep, I love it, and he can move it over to his following. We will use these applying and applied colleges in the fall when it comes time to actually applying. So that is a fast run through. Did I miss anything, colleagues, that I should be talking about?
Don't believe
All
so.
right. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brett, who will talk about College Kickstart.
All right. Let's see if we can share here. Bear with me. Sorry, it's not allowing me to share here.
Do you want me to share it from my screen?
Um,
No, that's a
No.
little harder.
That's gonna work. Do you mind popping in here real quick?
Sure.
Sorry, folks.
If anybody, if anybody wants to add a type of question in the chat, we can try and answer those questions while we're figuring out our technical difficulties here. Happy to continue answering any questions in the chat that we can.
Quick on the draw there, Mrs. Deal, answering the question. I was a second behind you.
Yeah, and in case you're, the questions so far in the chat have been regarding boot camps. We will have two different boot camps. One is, well, two different types of boot camps. One is specifically where we partner with the College Essay Guy, and that is all about the essays. And then the other, and we don't have dates yet from College Essay Guy for that. And then the other will be an application boot camp, which is something new we're trying this year. That will be right before school starts in August. Once we have the dates, we will let you know, but plan on it being, you know, that week, basically when kids are coming back to school. Even if seniors don't need to be in, we might do it then. But looks like we are up and running. I'm going to
We're good to
mute
go.
my mic. All right.
Thanks for your patience, folks. All right, so I'm going to briefly discuss College Kickstart. Your sons have access to College Kickstart. It's purely a student-powered module, but obviously you can ask them for a login if you'd like to look at it as well. That's why we're sharing with you this information today. So College Kickstart is offered currently. There's 130 high schools in the United States that use it out of 27,000 high schools. So we're blessed here at LaSalle to have access to this. What is it? It's a tool that kind of works alongside with SCORE to help your son make sure he is creating a balanced college list that's realistic. It helps focus on the best ways to apply early, whether that means early action or early decision. It creates an action plan for him. It has a list of key application requirements, so it consolidates it. There's no need to create an Excel spreadsheet with deadlines and how many essays are needed. And it also has a unique affordability tab that focuses on merit-based aid and need-based aid. It is driven entirely by quantitative guidance. So to refer back to what Mrs. Deal just talked about with SCORE, which is it's all LaSalle high school data. Same thing here. It's GPAs, it's test scores. It is a useful first filter. We tell the guys this. It's not a crystal ball. Just like the acceptance, the AI percentage likelihood in SCORE. It's a first step, a first filter. It's not the be all and end all. We're here as the college counselors to give kind of a bigger picture. So when we meet with your son one-on-one, we're able to give context to what College Kickstart says. He'll have access to this until New Year's Eve, so he can use it throughout the year to help finalize and refine his plans. So we're just going to dive in here, give you a kind of a live showing. Your son needs to have a minimum of 6 colleges in here for this to work. So you can see here on the left-hand side, we've got the colleges. On the right-hand side is his profile. So his GPA, his cumulative GPA as of January, so that's a 5-semester GPA, will be listed here. That will be updated in June with his full 3-year cumulative 6-semester GPA. And up here are his test scores. So this is our fake guy. He's got a 610 and a 590 and a 3.3. If your son knows that he feels like he's going to do really well on the SAT, this was his kind of first go around, he can run the numbers like this, but he could also change this to a 700 and a 650. If he thinks he might be applying test optional, he could get rid of the 610, get rid of the 590, and just run it with his GPA, and that would give him what the results would be if he had applied test optional. For the purposes of today, we're going to keep the SATs in here. So this young man, 610, 590. You can see to the left the schools that he's thinking about. We're going to add one more. And actually right here where it says HS, that means it's using LaSalle specific data. So for most of the colleges that our young men are putting in, it means we have enough data in here using the LaSalle young men. I'm going to add University of Pittsburgh to the mix. In theory. And you can see this is the one we're going to use for this run through, the high school data. But if your son knew he was applying, say, for business or engineering, he could run the high school one, click that, and you could also click business as well, or engineering or nursing, and see if there's any differences in the data when it comes out. Also up here on the right-hand side, your son could search under public liberal arts colleges, Ivy League schools, Jesuit schools, Catholic schools, test flexible schools, schools that are in the Big East. So lots of that built right in the search as he's beginning this whole process. So we've got 7 colleges here. We're going to run Kickstart. It's going to give our young man a grade on the balance of his list. So we start off with a C-. A lot of our young men, the first time they do this, get a C, get a B, get a D. It's not about the grade. It's about getting that initial first idea of, is this balanced or not? So we have a C-. It says the suggestion is to add a likely, add 2 targets, 2 realistic colleges, and shed an unlikely. So College Kickstart uses the term unlikely. SCORE uses the term far reach. So we'll go next and we'll see what those schools are. So they call it sanity checking your list and then fix your mix. So the unlikelies in this case are Duke. We probably saw that coming in, a 3.3 and a 1200. It would be highly unlikely that he would be able to get into Duke. Harkening back to what Mrs. Deal said, could he do the work at Duke? He probably could, but it's about the data and the numbers and whether or not he can get in. 4 reaches, we've got Syracuse there, Tennessee, Fordham, and Pitt. Not my day so far. Bear with me, I just got knocked out.
We can still see your screen.
Yeah, but you're seeing, I got knocked back out again, didn't I?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Here's our 7 schools. We're going to run it again. All good, C-. I've got a recommended strategy of how to apply. Our percentage admit rate, so 97% acceptance rate at Drexel, Syracuse 59%. I'm going to go to the next one. It tells me the waves in which I should be applying. And then I get a deep dive on each of these 7 universities, how I should apply. And at the very bottom here, specific information on need-based aid and merit-based aid. So our first university here is Drexel, and I can see that they give it 3 out of 5 stars for need-based, same with merit. I can look at the graduation rate, the average financial aid package, the net cost to attend. And then I can look at that versus Syracuse. A little bit more information here. Syracuse includes how much debt the average student has when they come out of Syracuse. On the right-hand side here, I can look at average merit package. So in this case, if I'm a family that is looking for need-based aid, Syracuse would definitely be one to consider as we go through this process. And then at the very top, I go up, I X out of this, I look at my plan highlights, and I click that, and I get 4 unique views. The first is a summary view. I've got my 7 colleges here. I've got the admit rate for them, whether or not it's a target, reach, or likely. College Kickstart even gives advice on whether or not this young man should be applying test optional. So in this case, for Drexel, it's saying yes. For Syracuse, yes, you should apply test optional. For Westchester, it's saying with his 1200 SAT, that's strong enough. Over here, it tells you the percentage of students nationally that are submitting test scores to this university. Here's the deadlines. And then here, very helpful for our young men, is whether or not demonstrated interest is considered. We've really ramped up in the last few years trying to get it across to the students here at LaSalle that they need to show interest if a college is tracking that. That can mean attending an open house, doing an official tour on campus, visiting with that college when they're here at LaSalle's campus. It could mean following them on social media, clicking through emails, any number of items, reaching out to the admissions officer. So in this case, Drexel, demonstrated interest is important. Is considered. Syracuse, it's important. Westchester, Tennessee, not considered at all. So in this case, this young man knows to focus his attention in terms of interest on the schools where they actually are looking at that. A link here takes you right out if you're planning in-person or virtual visits. Spring break coming up, Easter break, this link takes you to the admissions webpage, and this link would take your son or yourselves to a deeper dive on the majors for that college. So that's the summary view. Requirements view. Same thing with deeper information, whether or not standardized testing is optional or required. So in this case, University of Tennessee requires the SAT or ACT. Counselor or teacher recommendation. So Syracuse requires a college counselor and a teacher one. Westchester, it's optional. Interviews, are they required? They might be required major specific. It might be an alumni interview. It might just be by invitation, like the way Duke does it. And then finally here, the short answers or essay prompts. BASE refers to the Common App essay, 250 to 600 words, and an additional prompt. So I can look through here. You can see how as a senior, it's in September, October, this is really helpful as he's planning out his fall. So for Duke, he knows he's got to do a Common App essay and another 250-word essay and 2 optional 250-word essays, which for Duke means it's required. Fordham, regular essay, and an additional 300-word essay. And then finally, our need-based aid view. So if I'm a family knowing that we're going to need need-based aid, we know we might potentially qualify for significant financial need. I know that Syracuse, Duke, and Drexel are probably my best shots at getting need-based financial aid. And then there's a deeper dive on the costs as we go across. And then the final one, merit-based aid. I'm a family that knows we probably won't qualify for need-based aid, or we make just enough where we won't qualify, but not enough to write a check for a significant amount a year. I'm going to speak with my son and say, we need to be looking at some colleges where they give significant merit aid based on academic performance. Typically, the less selective the university, the more likely they are to give money to attract students. So in this scenario, Drexel, 4 out of 5 stars. Syracuse would kind of be the next best one. So if we're working with a family and a young man, and they're like, we need significant money, merit-based money, we would look at this list and say, this is not probably a solid financial fit. You'd want to add a couple more schools that have that merit side. And then the last thing I want to show you, just to harken back to Kickstart here, as we run it. We talked about the reaches, the targets, the likelies. Kickstart is telling me we want you to remove the unlikelies. So it's saying get rid of Duke, and it's saying to add a likely and 2 targets. So I can go right over here and find likelies. There's no other search tool that we're aware of where you can just search by likely, target, reaches. I can search here by major. I can search by those tags that I showed you at the very beginning. Different groups. I can search by 7-year bachelor medical programs, accelerated medical programs. I can search by schools that are in the SEC. And then over here, I have a list of available likely schools. If I click targets, that changes. Reaches, it changes. I can go here and take Duke off the list if I wanted to. On the left, I can say Auburn, I'm going to add to the list. Over here on the left-hand side. So another search tool to supplement SCORE, College Board, Big Futures, Princeton Review. I can search by size, setting, region. I can go a deeper dive. Some guys don't want to write an extra essay. I can look at colleges that don't have an extra essay. I can look at colleges that meet full need or give great merit aid, whatever it might be. And I can go here. I can add that school to the mix. And then I go back to my list. I can click this and say, I definitely attend a top choice if I were accepted. So we were at a C minus, we've moved up to a C. I still have too many reaches, a target, and a likely. That being said, there are sometimes there's young men that we meet with where they're like, hey, I know these are reaches. It may not work out, but I am more than happy with Drexel and Westchester. These are ones I just want to take a swing at. If we have that conversation and they're happy with their targets or likelies, then that's fine. But if they tell us I don't like these, that's when it's concerning, and we would say you need to add some targets, maybe peel back a few of those reaches, because typically if it's a reach or an unlikely, there's going to be a lot of work involved, and we want to be sure that the young men are balancing that as they go through this process. So with that, counselors, anything I missed or you wanted to add to the mix here?
I think we're good.
Yeah,
we're good?
I think we're good too.
All right. If there are no other questions, we really appreciate you. There's a recording of this as well. We can email that out to you. We're always available to chat. We look forward to working with your sons the rest of the year. And please pass along to them. There are under 50 class days left. So now is the time to focus before they're off for the next 3 months.
Hey, I had a quick question, if you don't mind. When you said for the stretches that there likely be a lot of work involved with getting into those schools, can you maybe elaborate, like what does that refer to as far as, is it like visiting, or like what's the type of work that you would need to put in for those stretch schools?
Mainly it's additional essays. That's the big time component. So the Common App essay, in most cases, they'll have knocked out of the way, and that goes to every college they're applying to. But in general, the more selective and competitive the university, as you saw with like Duke there, the more likely they are to have their own additional supplemental essays. Those might be 350-word essays. It might be short answers, but it could be 2 500-word essays. And those universities put a lot more weight on those applications. And if a young man is here and he's taking a heavy course load and he's looking at those kind of colleges, he really needs to be able to plan out, through, hopefully starting a little bit in August, but September and October, how he's going to approach those applications, because most of them are going to be due, again, in general, by 11/1, by November 1st. So what we don't want to have happen, and what we often do see happen, is a young man says, I'm done my essay, and then it's a couple days before the deadline, and he clicks on Bucknell and suddenly sees that there's an additional essay or two. And so he's scrambling with that and not working as effectively and not writing as effectively as he may have if he had started that earlier, or if he didn't have as many of those schools in his list. Anyone else have anything else?
Yeah, I would just add to that also that usually those essays are going to be why us, right? So, what is it specifically about Bucknell or whichever school, right? So where the extra work comes in is not just the essay, the time, the planning, all that type stuff, but it's knowing Bucknell inside and out. It's, if you want to be, whatever major, an economics major, you need to be looking into what's the course progression there at Bucknell, right? So you're doing that, your son is doing that research on their website. Are there any interesting research opportunities going on there? There really has to be more than surface level for, if a school is looking for this and your son is here, it's all about bridging that gap. And how do you do that? So it could be just, really the better they know a school, the better those essays are going to be. And really, the more they dig deep into what is offered, it's going to, either affirm that that is the right choice, or I'm going to say, oh, you know what, maybe it's not the right, it's not what I thought it was. So it's not just, the planning, it's like what goes into, like you really knowing that school and knowing it's the right place, because that is going to authentically come through if they interview, essays, like all that type stuff.
Gotcha, thanks. And when you were just mentioning all of the work that needs to go into it, what's LaSalle's stance on artificial intelligence to help create a draft of some of these deliverables, or is there not a stance quite yet on that?
I don't know if LaSalle has an official stance on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from our college counseling side of things, we share with them the language. There's language in the Common App that essentially says that they're signing off saying that this is their work. There's also individual language within the Common App. Each of the colleges have their own questions, and a lot of colleges have added a separate question in there that they're verifying that this is my work. And I have not used any assistance in this process. Just from the colleges we speak to, they've obviously seen the last 2 cycles an explosion in clearly AI generated essays. To get back to what Mrs. Deal said, the why us or the why me, there's a lack of authenticity there if someone just uses AI, and the colleges can see right through that. Most reps are reading anywhere from 500 to 1,000 essays, so it really sticks out. I think we agree it can be useful in the beginning as a brainstorming tool, maybe planning stuff out. But for the amount of students that just do it, copy it, and it still says ChatGPT in it or has a wrong college name in it, that's where it gets tricky. So we definitely we read them the Riot Act, but we don't put our head in the sand about it when we speak with them about the essay.
Great.
Anything to add there? Anyone else?
I'll just say that AI is useful when you're planning college visits. I did a tour in California 2 years ago where I ended up visiting 9 different colleges, and I did use ChatGPT. I had to refine it a few times, but what's the most efficient way for me to get from San Diego to LA? And it was even giving me recommendations as far as places to stop and have lunch or something like that. So, it can be a helpful tool, but applications need to be authentic. That's the bottom line.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Thanks for taking time this morning, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.